My name's Qasim Khan, and I'm playing Hamlet in Hamlet. It means a lot for me to be back on stage at the Hyde Park Amphitheater. That was the last year I lived in Toronto. It was the year I did Hyde Park, so 2016. And it's very cool that I got to do Hamlet there last time too, just as Horatio. So it means a lot to be doing the same show again, but in a very different character. Performing Shakespeare to me isn't all that different from performing in modern plays because the work is still the same. So I'm looking at the text that the author has given us and trying to carve out a character's journey. The difference is, I guess, there's older words in Shakespeare, so there's a little bit more research to be done on what things mean and how to frame or think about a word so that it registers to our contemporary audience in a contemporary way. So there's a few more puzzle pieces with Shakespeare, but otherwise the work is still the same. It's just figuring out what the character's going through, what situation they're in, and their relationship to the other characters in the scene. What do I find interesting about Hamlet? Hamlet is endlessly fascinating. There's so many different sides of this guy. And so I'm drawn to figuring out what's driving him and what his motivation is for doing the seemingly unhinged things he does throughout the play. To me, it's all rooted in some kind of truth and trying to achieve something. And that's what we're doing in the rehearsal hall right now is figuring out and crafting out what is driving this guy to think the thoughts he's thinking, to articulate the large thoughts he's sharing with the audience and with other characters, and what's driving his action throughout the play. I think what I'm enjoying most about rehearsal right now is getting to work with this group of artists. These are people who I have such different types of relationships with. There's folks here who I spent a lot of time with at Soul Pepper. There's folks that I've spent a lot of time with at Stratford. There's some new folks as well. So getting to work with all of these really brilliant minds under Jess's brilliant leadership is something I'm enjoying the most. I think audiences should come see Hamlet, A, because it is a very good story. It will be a very beautiful piece of theater. And I think it's timely. I think the world has changed so many times since 2020. And I think we are all kind of grieving and coming to terms with the loss that we experienced as a culture, as a society, as a world, people. And Hamlet speaks to loss in a very deep way. And I think getting to, do the show outside gives some more air around it in a way. And I think the experience for an audience is going to be really compelling. Outdoor theater to me is exciting because it kind of gets back to the foundations of theater. Theaters were outdoors back in the day. Theaters are still outdoors, and I think the space at Hyde Park is pretty stunning. It's it's one of I think our city's most beautiful stages. It's so vast and powerful. The location of the park is pretty special. It's in this really quiet nook. And my memory of performing out there back when I did the last season was that the way the stars light the trees is pretty spectacular. The way our lights meet the sky and the architecture of the trees around it, that's pretty stunning too. And so the Hyde Park Theater to me looks like this little jewel inside of a very large natural space, and that's rare, and I think one of our city's coolest venues. At the moment, it's Hamlet. I'm a big fan of Shakespeare across the board, but Hamlet to me has always been one of the plays that I've always wanted to work on because the character is so fascinating, and Shakespeare wrote such a fascinating character. So Hamlet right now is my favorite Shakespeare play.